These are the things that my boyfriend does for me that shot my standards through the fucking roof. Number one, he literally hand makes scrapbooks for me every single anniversary. Name one man you know who fucking scrapbooks. Like, are you kidding me? He texts me not a good morning text, but a good morning paragraph every single morning without fail. He will not let me pay for a singular thing. In fact, he literally takes my wallet and hides it so I can't pay because I want to pay, but I can't. Even though we are fully dating and have been for years. He still asks me to be his Valentine every single year, and it's always with a whole ass presentation. Flowers, candy, stuffed animals, the whole 9 yards. This man plans entire trips for me to be able to hang out with my long distance best friend in Chicago. He drove 10 hours just so I could see her. Like, take your pants off. Take your pants off right now. Literally, as soon as we started dating, are you kidding me? He unadded, unfollowed literally any girl he's ever talked to. I didn't even ask him to. Just trust me, we live in Bel Air, Maryland. There's no, like, threats walking around here, sorry. But my point is, he made it crystal clear that I'm the only girl he has eyes for. Like, I have never once had to worry about another girl in this relationship, ever. Girls have never been a problem. He literally will not let me touch his car door handle. And if he forgets, he tells me to stand there until he remembers to open it. He flexes the living shit out of me. He posts me up on fucking Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. In other words, he makes it very, very crystal clear to me how proud he is to be with me. Okay, as y'all hobknockers know, I do social media as a full-time job. He is the most supportive boyfriend I could ever ask for. Not only does he buy my merch, watches every single one of my videos, constantly refreshes all my accounts so he can congratulate me if I hit any new milestones. He drives me everywhere. When I tell y'all, I have probably put about 200 miles on my car since we started dating, and we've been dating for 2 years. Those 200 miles are literally the gym and back while he's at work. When I do drive, he fucking fills up my tank. I do not let him, by the way. When he's like replacing the brakes in my car or something, he will literally take my car to the gas station and just do it without telling me. Because he knows damn well I will not let him do that. Like, he already does so much. As some of y'all know, I have like severe ADHD. I know you guys think I'm funny, but I'm one of the most annoying motherfuckers to literally ever exist. Like, I used to be so insecure about it. When I tell y'all that this man constantly matches my fucking energy, acts just as fucking unhinged as I do, I am never afraid to be myself in front of that man. That dude has seen some shit. My point is, you would never know that I used to be with someone who would treat me like a fucking shit stain. But if you're with a dude that treats you like shit, this is your sign to fucking go. Trust me when I say there is someone so much hotter and so much better waiting for you. And he probably has an unwashed ass too. All I know is if I would have stayed in that toxic ass relationship, I would have never found the dude who treats me like a literal princess. And I am not exaggerating when I say that. So this is your sign to dump him and find someone hotter. Love you.
She flew all the way out to Scotland for one of her friends' weddings just to find out that she wasn't invited to eat dinner with all of the other wedding guests. For the sake of the story, we're gonna call our main character Amy. So Amy and her other friend Jill are invited to one of their friends' weddings in Scotland. And so they decide to book all of their travel arrangements together and go together all the way to Scotland for their friend's wedding. When they get to Scotland, they go to the bed and breakfast that they booked. It's run by this little sweet lady, and she offers to drive them to the wedding the next day. The day of the wedding, the bed and breakfast lady drives them to the ceremony. The ceremony's beautiful as expected. And after the ceremony, they remind everybody to go out to this other venue for the reception dinner. Amy and Jill call the bed and breakfast lady and ask if she can transport them over to the dinner. When they arrive for the dinner, they notice that there are seating charts at the entrance. So they're looking at the seating chart, trying to find their names on it to figure out where they need to sit. All of a sudden, the security person walks up and asks them to see their invitation. And they traveled a long way, so they didn't think to bring their invitation. So they tell the security officer their name, Amy and Jill. He looks at the list and says, you're not on the dinner list. I do see you as a wedding guest, but you weren't invited to the dinner. Amy and Jill are super confused. They're like, why would we not be invited to the dinner, but just the ceremony? I mean, after all, we flew all the way to Scotland for this. The security guy lets them know that while they're not invited to the dinner, they can come back in an hour when the dinner's over to come dance and enjoy cocktails. I forgot to mention the security guy also mentioned to Amy and Jill that at the very bottom of their invitation in small font, it indicated if they were a dinner guest or not. And Amy and Jill did not see this on the invitation because it was in small font at the bottom. Amy and Jill are pretty upset because they're in the middle of a place that they don't know anything about, Scotland, and they now have to figure out what they're going to do for dinner. And it's not like they could just walk down the street and go eat dinner somewhere else. They would have to travel to wherever they're going to now have to eat dinner. Not to mention, their ride is the bed and breakfast lady. And they did not tell the bed and breakfast lady that they would need another ride in between all of these things just to eat dinner. They decide, you know what, it's stupid for us to go eat dinner and then come back. So they decide to just call the bed and breakfast lady and get picked up and not come back. But what do you guys think about this? Is it weird to not invite your guests to dinner?
So this happened a few weeks ago at my friend's birthday party. So I went there by myself and I showed up, and as soon as I got there, I walk over to my friend whose birthday it is. And I'm just talking to her for a little bit. We hadn't seen each other in a few weeks, so we were just kind of chatting and catching up. As we're talking, this other girl that I don't know comes up and stands beside me and my friend. And my friend's like, oh, Tabitha, this is, let's call her Maggie. And I'm like, oh, hi, Maggie, nice to meet you. This girl looks me up and down and goes, yeah, I noticed you when you first walked in because you're really dressed up. Full disclaimer, I am extra as fuck. When I go out, I like to dress up. I dress up a lot. But for some reason, this night, I was not dressed up. So that comment just didn't make any sense. And I'm just like, haha, okay, whatever. Because people say shit like that to me all the time. So I walk away, and then I'm just kind of like talking to other people at the party, introducing myself because I didn't know a lot of people there. So I'm talking to this one guy, and I literally don't even remember his name, but we were just having a casual conversation. I was not interested in him whatsoever. We were just talking. Everything was just very normal and calm. Like there was nothing going on. This girl comes out of nowhere, grabs my arm and goes, oh my God, are you okay? You're like falling all over the place. And I'm just like very taken aback and confused because at this point in the night, I had made myself a vodka soda and I had taken like 2 or 3 sips of the drink. Like by no stretch of the imagination was I drunk. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm good. So then later on, I'm talking to my one friend and she like mentioned something about March Madness. And as a joke, I said, oh yeah, the only basketball player I know is Tristan Thompson because he's Khloe Kardashian's baby daddy. This girl, who was apparently standing behind me eavesdropping like a freak, turns around so fucking fast. There was a gust of wind because of how quickly she turned around and goes, oh my God, I cannot believe you just admitted that out loud. I was so taken back and confused. Like, are you the fucking CEO of ESPN? Literally, why do you even care? So then like an hour goes by and Maggie is talking to the guy that she almost bulldozed me over to get to, which like side note, I'm sure by what I described, you're picturing like this hot ass guy like Jacob Elordi from Euphoria, hot as fuck. No. Like, just get that mental picture out of your head because he was not that, which made it even more confusing because it's like, you almost injured me to get to this guy. I think it's so funny because pick-me's always do the most for these guys. And then like, whole time it's a guy that uses 5-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, and sleeps on an air mattress. Like, it was never that serious. So I look over and see her talking to him, and this is no exaggeration. This actually happened. I tried to take a picture, but I didn't. She literally has her hand to his like this, like in the memes where you see the pick me girl and she's like, oh my gosh, my hand's so small. Like, let's compare it. She has her hands to his literally exactly like from the meme. Like it was literally like she was reading from a script, like how to be the most pick me bitch ever. Like I was floored. I was like, there's no way that this is playing out in real life. Like there's no way that she actually just did this. So then the night goes on and we walk over to the bars, and luckily I'm able to avoid her most of the night because, you know, she was out doing her pick me thing at the bar and I was with my friends. But then I have one last interaction with her, the finale, the final kickoff. So we're walking home from the bars and my one friend, like as a joke, was like, oh my gosh, my feet are killing me. Who wants to switch shoes with me? Maggie turns around and goes, I would say you should switch with Tabitha, but I don't think you want to wear her cowgirl boots. These are the cowgirl boots in question. These right here. And what made that comment even weirder was that she was walking ahead of us. Like I wasn't even in her field of vision. So it's like, why are you walking and just like sitting there and thinking about me and what I'm wearing? Like very, very disturbing. So I truly hope I see this girl again, because if I do, I'm going to be in the most Western ass outfit. I'm going to bring a lasso. I'm going to come in riding a fucking horse.
When I was younger, I used to be somewhat of a compulsive liar. I say somewhat. I lied about majority of things. In my defense, I never lied about anything bad. Like, the thing is, I lied about the most pointless things ever that just didn't need to be lied about. I wanted to make my life much more interesting, and best believe I did, at any given point. One that really sticks out to me is when I was 17. Yeah. Literally like 3 years ago. I had ordered Chinese and I had my very own Smithy moment because they just put it all on the table and I was like, babes, no. Give me my salt and pepper chips by myself. Anyway, I had a boyfriend at the time and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe they've done this. I'm making them go back to the Chinese and get me another order. Like posting it on all of my private story being like, oh my god, just made my parents go back to the Chinese and get me my food. In reality, I just went downstairs and put things on my plate. I'm like, Caitlin, why did you lie about that? I don't know. I don't know. Make things worse. Yeah, it doesn't stop there. Came around to my house like a few days later and then we came downstairs in the kitchen and he literally went to my mum and dad, oh my god, haha, I can't believe you have to go back to the Chinese. And they were like, what? I was just stood there like, I want the floor to swallow me right now. Literally, I don't want to be here. Just like, why did you lie about that? Like, why did you lie about something so weird? That was my problem. It was never anything important or big or serious. It was just small, like, literally relevant things in my life. I wanted to make them more interesting because my life is a movie. Primary school was the worst for it because when you're a kid, kids believe literally anything you tell them. Primary school, the most annoying thing was everyone's like family was like based in different areas, like different parts of the world and countries and stuff. Mine was all from Manchester. What were they, Caitlin? Were they really? But, well, they have family in America. I'm gonna have family in America. Literally made myself learn like an American accent at such a young age. So I could be like, I'm half American. I was so fully committed to being like American, I had to learn a language, not a language, the accent. Sometimes I'd even be telling a story and then I just catch myself lying. I'd be like, why have I just said that? Like, it's accidental, I promise. I mean, it's not lying, it's exaggerating the truth. I think my favourite part as well was whenever I was telling a story that was just a lie and someone would be like, oh yeah, I was there. Or like, I remember that. And I'm like, it never happened. I don't think you did. I just stand there with a little smirk on my face being like, right, caught another one. You're a liar as well. I just find it quite hard to keep up with all the lies that I told though. I sound awful, don't I? It's not lying, it's just making my life more interesting, okay?
My mom was out of town for the weekend with her friends and my dad was taking my brother to some sort of sports game or something like 45 minutes away. The day of the party, I started getting texts saying that the upperclassmen were finding out and it was going to be this massive thing. Originally, it was only supposed to be a group of like 40 freshmen. So when I heard this, I started freaking out. I was like, should I cancel the party? What do I do? For some reason, I decided to call my aunt and ask her for advice about it. She told me that even if I canceled the party, word of it being canceled probably would not travel that fast and people would show up anyways and I would get in trouble anyways, so might as well have the party. I also made the fatal mistake of telling this older guy that I was talking to about my party. So him and his friends show up and my friends show up. For the first like 45 minutes, shit was fine. I was sitting on my couch in my basement staring off into space having an existential crisis about how my life was gonna end the next day and my parents were actually going to fucking kill me. But for the most part, everything was fine. This was also during the era of total frat move and barstool. So like all of the high school guys were obsessed with doing really weird like fratty shit when they drank. Some of the guys started like drinking beer off my treadmill and putting beer cans in my ceiling. And then someone comes down the stairs to the basement and tells me that someone upstairs just on purpose smashed a wine glass into their head. I go upstairs to see what's happening. There's glass like everywhere in my kitchen, but some of my friends are already cleaning it up and they're like, don't worry about it, we have this covered. This was right around the point in the night where random people started showing up that I had not invited. And then my sister comes bursting through the back door. My sister was a senior when I was a freshman and she had been out with her friends and she said she got a text asking if there was a house party happening at her house. So she came home to check it out and obviously she saw what was happening. She then asked me if I wanted her to help me kick all these people out and I was like, please. Then someone said the cops were there. So everyone in my house leaves pretty much immediately. I really didn't freak out when someone was like, the cops were there. I just started cleaning up. And the guy that I was into stayed for like an extra 10 to 15 minutes to help me clean up, which was nice, I guess. The weird thing is the cops never came and like knocked on my front door. They never asked to speak with me. Like I never got in any legal trouble for that party. They were just like parked in my driveway trying to catch the kids who were like running away, which is so weird and also not at all how they usually acted when they busted parties in my hometown. All of this also happened within the span of 1.5 to 2 hours since the party started. I started cleaning up to the best of my abilities. Some of my friends stayed. Some of the older guys' friends stayed, which I thought was weird because I was like, why are you guys still here if your friend's not? But then one of them started hitting on me for the rest of high school, so kind of made sense. My dad had texted at this point and said that he was almost home, and my friends and I had been invited to go to this guy in my neighborhood's house like after my party was busted. I thought it would be less suspicious if I wasn't home when he got home. I come home later, my dad's chill, doesn't suspect a thing. The older guys who came to the party were wearing ties for some reason, and one of them had lost their tie in the driveway, I guess when they were running away from the cops, and my dad had found it and yelled at my sister for 45 minutes because he thought that she had her boyfriend over, and she never ratted me out. My sister takes me to the dump the next day to get rid of all the empty beer cans and stuff. I thought everything was cleaned up. Then my mom, with her hawk eyes, gets home on Monday. She sends a text to the family group chat asking if anyone broke a wine glass. That was the first thing that started making her suspicious. I then lost my phone later that day, and she kept offering to help me look for it, and I kept saying no because I didn't want her looking anywhere too hard. And she ended up insisting on helping me, and she found a bunch of shit that people had left at our house that I had been stashing to give back to them, and she found a bunch of beer cans in the pool table, which is where I was stashing them before I could get rid of them and go back to the dump again. My parents sat me down and they yelled at me for what felt like forever. I ended up being grounded for almost a month. You would think after this experience I would have learned my lesson and never throw a party ever again. I threw 3 more parties freshman year. I didn't have fun at any of the parties I threw. I was so gut-wrenchingly anxious the entire time. The only reason I threw parties was so that my friends would like me and so that I wouldn't end up being excluded from whatever plans they made because the plans were at my fucking house.
Let's talk about how I dealt with all the hate I got in high school for trying to be an influencer. I'm waiting till we hit 1 million to share with you guys how I got started and everything that I did. But let's just say it has not been easy. So I've always known that I just love being behind a camera, whether it's editing, taking photos, making videos, like literally anything. I always made little YouTube videos and stuff when I was in middle school, but I never really posted them. So when I started doing TikTok and stuff, I kind of just started posting get ready with me's because those were trending and I really liked to make them. Let me tell you, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. Thank God when I started, I went and blocked like 500 people from my school because I didn't want anyone to find my account. I didn't even tell my friends about it or anything. I literally would post and get 0 views for like months, and eventually someone from my school did end up finding my account. I just remember like having 5,000 followers. Someone showed me that one of my old friends had sent one of my videos into their group chat. Literally right then and there, like my stomach dropped, like my heart literally stopped beating. I was like, I'm done posting. I'm deleting my account. Like I'm not doing this. This is so embarrassing. So I'm not gonna lie, I did take a break. I was super embarrassed. I didn't really deal with hate well at the time because I cared so much about what everyone thought about me. I decided to post like 1 more time that week and it just happened to blow up. So I was like, okay, this is a sign, like I should keep doing this. So I kept doing it. You know, I really loved it. Like it got me up in the morning. I got to talk to someone, even if it was just on my phone. Like I really enjoyed doing it. I was getting followers. My account was kind of taking off. I remember being at like 16.4K when this all happened. I just remember being at a basketball game and a guy that I was kind of friends with showed me their group chat, and they had been sending my videos into the group chat, like every single one of them. And I read some of the things that they were saying about me, and again my stomach just dropped. I was like, okay, I'm literally done. This is awful. Like what the heck. Reading the guys group chat was more disrespectful, whereas the girls was more hurtful. But like either way, reading guys or girls, like both of them were so rude and so hateful and just so like not supporting me at all. Once I hit about 20,000, I caught on quite quickly that most of my grade knew about my TikTok. If you guys are unfamiliar, my TikTok name is Sozzled. It's completely random, but I've just always kept it. I don't know why. People would always call me Sozzled, and I always thought they were like hyping me up, you know, being my friends, but little did I know they were literally making fun of me to my face like half the time. Some of my best friends that I would be super happy about some of my videos blowing up or gaining some followers would literally just go behind my back and talk crap about it. So that kind of hurt when I found that out too. So slowly my account kept growing, and I got to a point where people couldn't really make fun of it anymore, but it wasn't something super big. Maybe I had like 100K or 200K, you know, like that middle ground. And I learned really fast the difference between judgment,
jealousy and wannabe. I didn't have a lot of followers and I was just starting out. It was super easy to look at my page and just laugh and be like, oh my gosh, this girl thinks she's like an influencer, like, ew, it's cringy. Like, I thought the same thing, but once you hit that middle ground, it gets to a point where you can't just look at it and laugh, you know, like it's turning it into something, and that's when people get jealous. It's at a stage where people don't really want to be friends with you because of it, but they look at it and they want it and they're jealous of it, and they start to act out in that way. They stop making fun of you because you're cringy. They make fun of you because they're jealous of you. Towards the end of this year is where I kind of noticed people wanting to be friends with me way more. I haven't had a lot of friends my senior year, especially I was not friends with the girls that started to come up to me and be nice to me and like try to be friends with me almost. Like the same girls that would send my videos to their group chats were trying to be friends with me. So I was very accepting of it. I'm not a very judgmental person, but I never let it get to my head because I knew that there was no way without my social media that these girls would want to be my friends at all. Especially when the only thing they ever talk to you about is your social media. It's just really weird seeing the turnaround because they're not acting jealous anymore. They just act like they want to be my friends. Like they're trying to get in videos, they try and get my PR, like, and I'm totally fine with that. Like I do not care. But I keep a mental note, like I'm not stupid. It just got to a point at the end of the year where literally anything anyone talked to me about was my social media. Which is fine because I'm really excited about it and I love it, but it's just kind of hard talking to those people about it when you know they were literally preying on your downfall months earlier. All I can say in the end is do what you want, because if you put 100% of your effort into something, it's gonna happen. Like eventually it has to happen if you give it your everything. I just have to say, never in a million years, if you asked me a year ago when I started my TikTok if I could say I'd be almost at 1 million followers, but like we're almost at 1 million followers. Not someone that's super popular, has a lot of friends. Like I'm literally a student athlete. I've always focused on school. I've always been an athlete, and I just happened to have a girly side that I really wanted to express on camera. Even if that's not you, even if you're an introvert or you just like to do makeup or you just like to talk or you just want to do vlogs, like literally anything. If you want to have a platform and you want to post, just do it. This is your sign. I want to say no one cares and no one's going to judge you, but that is just not the truth. So I'm coming on here to tell you that people will judge you, people will be jealous of you, and it really sucks. But as long as you know where you want to go and you're having fun with it, literally so many girls do this. Just do it. I wasn't the best at dealing with hate at all. I care a lot about what people think about me, so there were times where I just didn't want to do it anymore, but like I kept doing it because I really enjoyed it. Like it's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it, but it's hard because if you put in 100% of your effort, like it's gonna pay off. So yeah, I hope that helped knowing that this journey hasn't been easy for me. It's been really hard. I've gotten a lot of hate. Sadly, not online, only from people that I know in real life. I'm not gonna say don't care what people think, because I definitely care what people think, but you just gotta know that you're having fun with it and you want to do what you want to do.
Story time about the time I walked in on him with another girl and literally took a video of it. This had happened freshman year. I'm a senior now, and I'm in a very healthy relationship now. So like I said, this was 3 years ago, and it was this guy's birthday. And for his birthday, he had a bunch of people from his high school right down the road come to his apartment and like pregame with us before we went to another party. Also, my best friend was in town, so she was visiting. And for his birthday, I had got him this chain. Keep this in your mind. So the night rolls around, and we're all at his apartment pre-gaming, and all of his like high school friends show up. First red flag is that literally nobody said hi. Keep in mind, these people are still in high school. Second red flag is when we were playing like beer pong, I literally had slipped and like fell on my back. And one of the girls was like, blah, 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 get your girl, talking about me. And he did not help me off the ground. Two of his other friends helped me off the ground. And we were like laughing about it, but like, what do you mean, well, get your girl? Like, and he didn't even help me up. The third red flag is that when me and all my friends were like in the living room, him and all these like high school girls were in his room taking shots out of like our alcohol bottles. So we were like, no, absolutely not. And we put our alcohol bottles in the closet. Keep that in mind too. So the pregame's about over, and we walk like a neighborhood over to this like party that this guy was having. And there was like a ton of us, and we're all walking, and I noticed like him and this another girl just like talking like behind everybody. They're like way back, and I'm like, you know what, I'm not gonna think anything of it because it's his high school friends. He probably hasn't seen them in a while, and why would I need to overthink? So we're in this party, and there's like a downstairs and an upstairs, and one of my friends was like, Megan, I just saw go upstairs with this girl, like, you want me to go check on them? Like, that was like 10 minutes ago. And I was like, sure, like, I don't care. And so she like went up there, and she came back down, and she was like, he had his arm around her. And I was like, you know what, like, I don't care. I really don't care. So the night was getting pretty late, and I remember he had like Snapchatted me or something. It was like, hey, like, we're all going back to my apartment, like, we're just like tired or whatever. And then time rolls around and it's like actually time to like go, you know? So we walk back to his apartment. It's like me and like 4 other of my girlfriends. And I remember he like wasn't answering my Snapchat, so I was like, I feel like we're like about to walk in on something. Like, I just have like a gut feeling something's not right. When we get back to his apartment, we open like his like main door to his apartment, and these girls just like start like giggling. They're like, and they're like, oh gosh. And I like turn my head, and in my head I'm like, oh gosh, what? Then like me and my 4 girlfriends like go over to his like his room door, and it's locked. So then my friend Tatum's whispering, and she's like, Megan, like, I'm gonna knock, pretend you're not here, like, don't say anything. So she knocks, and she's like, blah blah blah, like his name. She was like, I'm just here to get my alcohol, like, I'm going back to Megan's dorm. And he's like, 1 second. Now it's been like 2 minutes, and he still's not open the door. And she's like, open up, like banging on it and yelling at him. And he's like, hold on, and like opens it. And this is where I like blacked out, like barely remember what went down. We walk in, and Tatum opens the closet to get her alcohol off the top shelf. And what do we see? A little rat hiding in the closet. And my first instinct, I don't know, I have never walked in on something like that. My first instinct was to literally take a video. So I pulled my phone out of my back pocket, I opened Snapchat, and I took a video. I took a video of her hiding in the closet, and then I took a video of him like laying on his bed. And then I like ran out. And I ran into his roommate's room, and I was just like crying because I was like, what the heck did I just walk into? And I literally hear my best friend in the other room like screaming at him. And then in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, what about the chain? I just got him today. I was like, Tatum, please go get it for me. I'm like returning it. So she literally goes back in his room and is like, give me the chain. And he's like, what chain? And this like high school girl is still just like sitting in his room, and he's like, what chain? Like pretending I didn't get him a chain that morning. And she was like, the one on your neck. And he's like so freaked out and scared, he's shaking. He can't get it off. So he goes, Tatum, can you help me get it off? So then I run to my other guy friend's apartment where like everybody would hang out at. And I did not go back to my dorm because I had my best friend there, my brother was in town, my brother's friend was in town, and then my roommate, obviously, in a little dorm. So I was like, I'm just gonna sleep on my friend's couch and like go back to my dorm in the morning. And then I woke up on their couch the next morning to someone standing over me while I'm sleeping going, Megan, Megan. And I wake up and it's him, and I was like, what are you doing in here? And I was like, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. And he was like, this is what he says. Can I get you Andy's and we can talk it out? Sir, it is 9 in the morning. We're gonna go to Andy's and you're gonna talk about how I just walked in on you with another girl? No. So yeah, that is like the story of the time I walked in on him with another girl and took a video of it. And oh my gosh, he got like messed up on campus by all my friends. My friends would roll the windows down and like scream at him. And he'd be like talking to like other girls on campus or as like friends, and they'd be like, screw you, like screaming at him through the window.
Story time on my middle school from hell. So during the first break of the day, a whole crowd had gathered around my principal, and one of the kids decided to throw it at the principal. It was a pink little, and they threw it at the principal. I don't really know why or who threw it. They never found out who threw it, I don't think, but regardless, they threw it at the principal. The principal picked it up, he threw it in the trash, and he was just kind of looking around like, who threw that? But yeah, that was like the first part. This all happened in like one day. This is like the first part of the day. Like this happened right after first period. So towards the end of second period, right before lunch is about to start. So I realized I said something here that I can't say on TikTok, but basically we were called into a shelter in place, and we were all thinking that it was a school. I remember texting my mom like, oh my god, we're in lockdown, like what do I do? And it ended up being called off like around 20 minutes later. But I had a friend in student aid who had that period in the office, and she found out that there was a homeless, or I don't know if he was homeless, but it was like some random man with his shirt off, and he had a duffel bag, and he had in them. His plan was to pew the school, but like we didn't know that at the time, so we were like all chilling. And then lunch rolls around. around, like, kind of right after the lockdown was lifted. And, like, 10 minutes into lunch, the fire alarm goes off. So everyone is thinking, oh my god, and we're in outside school. So I remember looking around and everyone was running every which way. Like, even though the fire alarm was going off, everyone assumed, like, it was something else. And there was, like, teachers ushering kids into the classrooms, which, like, if you see that, like, you know that even the teachers thought that there is and so everyone was freaking out. Like, there was students running into classrooms, there were students running into, like, the field where we're supposed to go for, like, a fire evacuation. And after, like, 5 minutes of everyone freaking out, running every which way, the fire alarm gets called off, and they're like, okay, it was just a faulty alarm, like, it's okay, it was all okay. So then the school day ends. So the day everything happened, or the day after, I really can't remember, there was, like, rumors going around that there was going to be a bunch of fights the next day, and, like, the school, and it was, like, crazy. So a bunch of kids didn't show up to school the next day because they were all scared that the school was going to get, and it was just, like, really scary. And I remember asking my mom, like, please, can I stay home? Like, I'm so scared. But, like, my mom made me go anyways because she didn't want me missing school. So the next day rolls around, and that's when everything's supposed to happen. So cops show up to our school to, like, supervise during lunch and everything. And during lunch, like, 2 fights broke out. And there was kids, like, swinging at the police officers. So they ring the bell for us to go to our last period, because this all happened during lunch. And our lunch got cut short, like, 20 minutes. Like, it was that bad that there was so much chaos, they had to cut our lunch short. And we report to our 6th period. And oh my gosh, I remember how mad my teacher was. She was livid. We spent, like, a whole hour of class, like, just a whole hour as soon as we got there, saying, like, how disrespectful we were, how we were such bad kids, how she had never seen a class this bad, and that she's never been more sad in her teaching career, which was understandable because, like, we were crazy. Like, I don't really know why we were doing all that. Like, we were really extra for doing all that. So they also took away our soap dispensers for, like, 2 weeks prior, so we literally had no soap at our bathroom. So when we went to the bathrooms, like, we would just wash our hands with water and nothing else. And she was just telling us how it was our fault we had no soap dispensers because we did something to them. I can't really remember exactly what we did, but I don't know. Anyway, she just went on this whole spiel about how she was so disappointed and upset and mad and yada yada yada. And the next week, there was a couple crazy things that happened too. That was the week before, or the week that COVID hit, and that was, like, the week before spring break. And it got to the point, or there's something that happened that made my mom have to call the cops, like, while I was in class. So this was the following week after all the crazy stuff had happened, and I had just transferred into a new English class. And so I didn't really know anyone in the class. Like, I knew, like, maybe 2 people, like, at most. We had just changed seats. And I was sitting in front of, like, I was just sitting at a table of people that I didn't know at all. Like, all my friends were completely moved away from me. So this kid is, like, sitting in front of me, and I didn't know him, but he just looks like the type to be, like, a troublemaker. Anyways, this guy in front of me, he decides to pull out, and he's, like, flaunting it around. Like, he's showing everyone that he hasn't, and he's just flaunting it, like, out in the open. And then he starts asking people around him really weird questions. He was like, oh, if I cut my veins, like, will you give me $10? And I was like, no. And then he was like, well, if I cut my veins, like, do you think I'll die? And I was like, no. And then he started, like, saying some really concerning things. And so I texted my mom, and I was like, Mom, there's a guy in class that has a knife, and he's just, like, showing everyone, like, and he's being really weird about it. And so my mom was like, what? So my mom was like, oh my god, like, what do you want me to do? Or, like, what should I do? Like, but she ends up calling the principal, and she's like, hey, there's a kid in your class that has a knife. Like, I'm gonna call the cops if you guys don't. And so the principal, like, they ended up calling the cops. Like, my school ended up calling the cops. Apparently, this kid had been in juvie before, like, recently, and he had just gotten his ankle band taken off or something like that. I don't know. He was just, like, a little delinquent. I just remember this whole next part being, like, a movie, low-key. Like, the cops, like, busts into like our classroom door. Principal like runs into the classroom and like takes him away from our class, and then the cops come in and they start like they take away the backpack, and it's like this whole entire thing. Like everyone is kind of like, what just happened? But at the same time, like, thank God, because he's being really weird. Another crazy story for you guys. My school had made the news because there's a teacher at our school who had played in class, left it on his computer screen, and he opened it up to like project something, and it was just there, and he left it on there for a good couple seconds. Like, he wasn't even trying to rush to take it off. He just let all these kids watch. Anyways, so he like went to court, but he still stayed working or teaching at our school, I'm pretty sure. We also had another teacher who, he did some stuff with some students, but he also was like allowed to stay at our school. I think he did some stuff, and then that's when he moved to our school. Honestly, I hated middle school with everything in me. And my parents were always like, no, like, you're gonna like it. Like, you're gonna miss middle school when you're older. But now that I'm older, I still don't miss middle school. It was a horrible experience for me.
Story time while I'm doing my makeup, because I think I'm about to be murdered on this first date. Okay, I got receipts pulled up right now. So I randomly get a DM. I'm outside with my grandma and my dad, you know. I just randomly get a DM from this dude, and I read it out loud saying, "That's crazy. You look exactly like my future wife." So me and my dad are just talking, you know, about all the guys that hit me up and all this stuff, and, you know, I just proceed to like the message and just leave it on seen. 30 minutes later, he proceeds to text me, "I see the vision though. You gotta appear mysterious and uninterested." So I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, love the viewpoint, lol, thank you. I was like, do you have Snapchat? Like, just the typical, like, you know, like, text back with a random dude. "I prefer not to get left undelivered for 6 weeks, so I'll give you my number instead." Real as frick. So he sends me his number. Now you have no excuse not to put me in your emergency contacts. So I'm thinking, like, oh, what? So I'm like, whatever. And then I was like, wait, how old are you? Like, before, like, I, like, put this dude's name on my phone, right? When I text him, I'm like, "Hey, it's Ashley." He's like, "Phew, I didn't think we were gonna make it to this point, Ashley." And then I was like, well, it has come to this point. And then he says, "The only next logical step is to see when you're free so I can take you to dinner." I was like, see, that's kind of a tough one with me. I was like, I'm a really busy woman. And then he's like, are you using the D1 excuse? I'm too busy. Well, I'm also busy. Yeah, I'm trying to make time for you. And I was like, oh, sweet. So he's telling me that he is going to training right now, like, like, we have a plan going on here. And then he was like, "Can I FaceTime you after I get out of training?" I was like, yeah, like, so he FaceTimes me after his training, and he seems like a normal person. We're kind of just talking, and he was like, "So, like, what are you doing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Well, I have, like, a little softball game at, like, 7 o'clock, and I have to go look at this couch at 5, like, da-da-da." He was like, "Perfect, so I can come pick you up, and we can do something, at 1. And I was like, "Oh, what?" Like, I'm flabbergasted. Like, he sees how flabbergasted I am. The only weird thing that, like, I didn't like is that he didn't have any posts in, like, his profile pic. Like, you can't really see his face, but it's, like, his body, you know? But, like, I don't know. I figure out where he lives, and he's, like, 30 minutes from me. I'm like, "You're really gonna come pick me up?" He was like, "Yes, like, dude, I, like, really want to take you out," and all that stuff. I'm, like, still, like, flabbergasted again. And I'm like, what in the world? I was like, well, what are we gonna do? He's like, "I know a spot. Like, we can go, like, mini golfing, and I can take you out to get something to eat before or after." And I was like, "Food, bro, free fucking food." Okay. And then this morning, as I'm now getting ready, like, what in the world, I go back to his freaking Instagram, and his profile username, picture, and everything has changed. His freaking profile pic is a black screen. His username is changed to the numbers of 444. Mind you, I don't really go on dates often. Like, I couldn't even tell you the last time I went on a date, so I'm kind of just like, just do it for a plot. I told my dad about the situation. He's like, "Bro, you're gonna get freaking murdered, or, like, SEX trafficked." And I'm like, "Bro," I was like, "I honestly don't know, but for the plot." So right now I'm getting ready. I personally just think it's weird that, like, he just changed his entire, like, profile and username and everything. Like, I don't know. I'm about to probably FaceTime him. Why should it be like not him? Bro. I'm, like, really scared. So wait, actually I'm gonna FaceTime him right now. Okay, I literally just got off the phone with him. I just FaceTimed him, so we're good. We're all set. He's a normal human being, and the only reason why he said he changed, apparently he changed all his social medias to that. I don't really know. I was literally straight up, and I was like, "You're not gonna murder me, right?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" I think I'm just freaking out because I've never met him before, like, in my life, and I'm just now hearing of this person. So
FaceTime him and he's like, I should take you on a date. Like, what are you doing tomorrow? And I told him, like, I was busy, like, in the afternoon, but, like, I didn't say anything about, like that morning, like, afternoon. I was busy in the evening. And he was like, oh, so, like, you're free, like, I can come pick you up. And I'm, like, flabbergasted, as I said in the video. And I was like, you know what? For the plot, like, no balls, don't know who this person is. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So I sent him my address, and he gives me a time, and just, what in the world? So day of getting ready, I make a video explaining how I think I'm gonna get murdered because I don't know this dude. I had a few mutuals, but like I still like haven't like really like heard much of him and stuff like that. But what was really weird is I go back to his Instagram as I was getting ready for this date, and I go to his Instagram, and he changed his he didn't have any posts besides like a profile picture of himself. But I go in and his profile was changed to a black screen, and he changed his entire username and name to the digits 444. So none of his like name or like info was stated in anything. Like it was just all changed, which is super weird. And I'm thinking, I'm about to get like murdered, bro. Like this dude's like covering his name and like just like I'm just thinking the worst that could possibly happen. So I called him. It was literally straight up. I was like, you're not gonna murder me, right? And he was like, what are you talking about? When it did come time for the date, he never showed up. Just never showed up. Like he literally stood me up. So the rumor was throughout that day, he never called, texted me, or nothing. I texted him and I was like, hey, are you coming? Like 30 minutes after he was supposed to show up. Like if not, like I have other plans like I could be possibly doing right now. Never answers me, nothing. But the rumor was like the entire day was like he literally probably just stood me up because I called him out for like and asking him that, like asking if like he was gonna murder me or something, and he just never showed up. What's it called? But it gets later at night, and with like all my friends in the room, and I was like, I'm gonna FaceTime him because I go back to his Instagram again, and I was like blocked or something. Like he changed his account onto like private, but like I still had his number, so I FaceTimed him, and he answered the second time, and I was like, so like, what was the excuse? And he said, oh, I had work, like I got called in, and then I was watching my brother, and like all this stuff. And then he started joking around like, no, like I like literally just threw my phone in like the ocean, and like all this, like he was just being like super rude and super stupid, like straight like basically. So I was like, okay, whatever. But the funny thing was, I was with one of my friends that night, and one of them had a really, really close mutual with him that was like friends with, like, you know what I'm saying. So I call her off my friend's phone, and she knew that the date was happening, like, because she was friends with him, or like they're like close like that, and he had told her that he was supposed to take, like he was taking me out and all this stuff. So she gives me her rundown of the situation, like what she knows, and then I give her my entire rundown, send her my TikTok, put her my private story, because I was literally like ranting to my private story like that entire time. Like everybody knew, like making sure like if I had gone out, like I had all those people stalking my location to make sure I was okay. And I told him that I just called him like right before I had called you. He told me that he was like busy and all this stuff, and I was like confused, like why he didn't just like text me or anything. Like, it was super sketchy. And she had told me that he's not even employed, like all this stuff. He like why would he be watching his little brother when he's like over like 10 years old? Like that's just like stupid. Like he wouldn't just drop something to do that, like, you know. And then basically just giving me like all the answers of basically what he said was basically. So I was like, okay, like she's basically just telling me like that he's basically man whore. He's always taking girls out on dates and just like completely dissing them or leaving them stranded 2 hours away. She told me that story, and I was like, bruh, like, thank God I did not go, like, or he didn't come get me and pick me up, because like I probably would have, like, she's like, I don't know what would happen, but like he was not like the best man to be like hanging out with, like, one-on-one. But basically we just end the conversation, and now I made a new friend to bond over with this tragic experience with, and we just blocked him on everything, no contact now. He doesn't have me anywhere, and life is good. I'm alive.